Welcome once again, fellow adventure creators. This is Treacherous Trap Tuesday, and we're going to be talking about the fun Winkle trap. That's right. The Winkle trap, the fun Winkle. Well, you know where this is going, merely from the title, so I had to obscure the title and pronounce it more a Dutch/Afrikaans/German type way. Speaking of obfuscation, this does not really need to be obfuscated except the thing that's causing the effect, and we'll get to that in a moment. The lure is there are several people fast asleep in a room, or in a spot in the cave, or in the clearing of a forest, however you wish to do it. So this trap can be used in multiple different locations. But sleeping people themselves are not lures, it's what they're carrying that are lures. So you can imagine these to be adventurers with long grey beards, dozing up against a tree with, holding a magical sword, clearly magical, or a very ornate sword that could possibly be magical, which is probably a better idea. The perfect lure for adventurers who are out trying to grab gold from whoever they come across. The trigger is once the party go past the point of no return. So you'll have like the outer walls of the room, or the outer circle of the clearing, or whatever. They come within breathing distance of a special plant that is grown here on purpose. And this plant, once you inhale the pollen, which is always producing, you basically get put into a coma. So what type of plant this is, it doesn't really matter. The real benefit of this is that those pesky elves that are immune to sleep and charm are not going to be immune to breathing. So now we have an opportunity for, all kinds of craziness to occur. You can have your adventurers wake up decades later, or they can wake up on a cart that, they've been stripped of everything they own, and they wake up on a cart in a completely different place of the world. This is a great way that you can introduce all manner of chaos into your story. So the containment is within this area. So there needs to be some kind of magic that can be detected, and that magic would be the things that nourish the people that are within the trap. So that's what keeps them alive for decades on end. But what it will not detect is the actual pollen itself. So even if they detect and dispel the nourishing magic, the moment they walk through, that pollen's going to hit them every single time. Of course, if they do any kind of detect magic, they're going to detect that it's life-giving, nourishing magic. Anyone who's caught by the trap is basically contained within this bubble of the pollen. Once you're outside of the pollen, you will naturally just awaken after a period of time, and you can make that an hour, 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever you like. It's up to you. So it doesn't cause any kind of damage. This is merely so that you can do a narrative switch up. You can change the parameters of the game. How do they rescue one of their party members who've gone inside? Have a delay to it, so they don't just drop down and fall asleep immediately. It happens after a round or two. So this trip doesn't really have any kind of a disposal, other than the fact that there's just this nourishing magic that just keeps the people alive. So it's not an evil trap. Evil! Like we normally do on this channel. It's more of a have a nice rest for a couple of years. There's no real way to have this mechanically adapt itself other than, possibly having some other magical spells included that will shift things or change things, or maybe this actually moves around and it takes the victims with it. That could be very interesting. So it's almost like an interdimensional sleeping chamber that just changes locations in the universe or in the world. So you instantly transported to another continent, and decades later you're woken up in another completely different dungeon, and you don't know why. And because this trap perpetuates itself, the plant is continually just producing pollen, it's continually growing, and the nourishing spell is basically using natural mana that exists within the environment to nourish the victims. It doesn't really need to reset. But once, obviously, the nourishing magic has been dispelled, the people will remain unconscious unless they're dragged out of the pollen area. Of course, if they're not, then they will just expire because they're not being nourished by the spell anymore. So that is the fun Winkle trap. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one. You can click the bell to receive notifications of when these come out. I'll see you soon.